We are well into wedding season, and while ceremonies and receptions have changed over the years, one thing has stayed the same: proper wedding etiquette, still alive and well. So we've got all the do's and don'ts for a successful wedding. Our expert panel this morning consists of the editor-in-chief of Wedding Bells magazine, Alison McGill. We've also got newlywed Jessica Hamilton and bride-to-be Sarah Patich. Thank you all for coming in to weigh in on this. And one of the questions that we had, a lot of people were commenting on Twitter and on Facebook, but one of the questions that we wanted to get in right off the start was, what if you don't want kids at your wedding? And I guess I'll throw that over to you, Alison.
If you don't want kids, the basic rule of thumb is if someone's not listed on the invitation, they're not invited. So, of course, we have these people who like to bring along the toddlers, the babies, the little ones to the wedding. But bad form, they're not invited. If it doesn't say children, they're not coming.
So you can't make that assumption.
You can't make that assumption, and unfortunately I've heard so many stories about people showing up with the little ones, and it just makes for an awkward situation. So it's just bad form. I mean, be polite, people.
So let me ask about the +1 aspect about the wedding invite. If you're not on it, as you say,
yes.
When you got married and received your RSVPs coming back, did you get people that added, like in one case we heard someone saying, +7, I'll come +7? Really?
No, we were very lucky that we structured our RSVP cards with the number of spots available for each guest. So the RSVP card said there were 2 spots available, so they were able to bring a date, or that implied they were bringing their partner, or it said 1 spot for someone. So we were really lucky in that sense that it was pretty straightforward.
I'm going to ask about response time to Alison in a second, but you're getting married soon. You sent out your invites. How quickly, or maybe slowly, did they come back?
We found that they kind of came in bunches or groups, and receiving those was really exciting to get the little bunches all at once. But we did find that we had probably about 30 people out of 160 that we had to call or email or try to get a hold of last minute and see if they were coming or they weren't.
Because as a bride-to-be, you don't have enough to do that you now have to start calling your guests.
Yeah, individually.
What's the rule of thumb on that, Alison?
Well, I mean, as soon as you get the invitation, I think you should make the decision. It's just, I kind of look at it like, when you get a bill, you pay a bill. When you get an invitation, it's an RSVP. You have to think people are planning this event. They're counting on you. They need a head count. And again, it's just good form to do that. So as soon as you can get it out, get it out. I mean, things fall through the cracks, and I think that's great. You said, you contacted people. Inevitably, that's going to happen. And you just have to be prepared for that. Like, I think a lot of couples get seriously frustrated because they're not really expecting that, but plan for it. There's going to be stragglers.
Okay, so I'm going to stick with you for a moment about this whole issue of cash for weddings. It seems to be a bit of a sticking point, and yet there's a bit of a rule of thumb.
As cash gift,
yes.
Is this what we're talking about? Well, a lot of cultures, that is the accepted norm, that you are giving a cash gift. If we're talking about, in the Asian culture, it's very prevalent. In Italian weddings, it's very prevalent. I get this question a lot: is cash king when it comes to the wedding gift? It's really up to you. Use the discretion. I mean, couples have registries. That is a great option to go and gift with, and it's always, what is the correct amount? I don't have the $1 million answer for that. It's really what you're comfortable with. And you also, as a couple, you have to consider, the economy, people's situations. That's why I always kind of suggest the registry if a couple has one, because, 3 or 4 couples can go in on a fantastic gift that's on this registry that they might not have been able to get on their own.
And Jessica, as far as your wedding was concerned, what kind of, did you have a meal? And if so, did you have a bar open or cash?
We had the full service plan, so we had the cocktail hour, sit-down meal, and an open bar.
So when you were planning that, that's going to cost a little bit more to have the open bar.
Yes.
And what are you planning, Sarah?
We're planning the same thing.
Yeah.
Cocktail hour, open bar, full dinner, and a late night buffet as well. So
is it expected, Alison, an open bar, these things, or is it absolutely up to the bride and groom?
It's up to the bride and groom, but I think, guests generally, I think, get their nose a little bit out of joint if it's sort of not happening, because you're throwing the party for these people, and I think people feel that they need to be serviced. Again, there's lots of options with that. You don't have to have a full bar. You can have just beers and wines. You can sort of tailor your cocktail menu so it's a little bit more affordable for you. Mm-hmm. But I think for good party planning, it's a great idea.
So Jessica, for you and your wedding party, who paid for what? Who did what?
In terms of our wedding party, they took care of their attire for the day. So the dresses for the girls, their shoes, everything like that. And the boys were in kilts, so they were in the full kilts with the Prince Charlie jackets. So they took care of that. And then other than that, we did do the gifts for each of them.
And who paid for what, or who is paying for what? Because not quite there yet.
Yes. Well, the girls paid for all of their dresses.
Okay.
The gentlemen actually rented suits, so they paid for that. I found a lot of options that way, and a lot of people who will offer great deals that way as well. For the girls, part of their gift is their jewelry for the day.
So that's the gift that you give them.
Yes,
right, okay.
Exactly. And they're also paying for their hair the morning of, and as well as they did their shoes. So they all have different shoes to kind of give them something to set them
So
apart.
we've got the bridal party all dressed. What to wear, what guests should and shouldn't wear, what bridal parties, maybe outside the party, maybe the mother-in-law, the father-in-law, what they should and shouldn't wear. And we got a lot of response from that coming in for people saying that they, wore the inappropriate thing. They might have worn white, or they might have worn sleeveless. I don't know. Is that okay?
Well, there's not. The rules have certainly relaxed in terms of fashion. Now, having said that, let's remember we are going to an event and an occasion. A wedding is an occasion, and I think a lot of people don't want to go the extra mile. He doesn't want to put on the suit. People don't want to be a little bit dressed up and a little bit formalized, and I think that we need to change this mentality because, a dress shirt and Dockers at a wedding isn't always, what's required. So again, I would consult with the couple. There seems to be this notion that when, the people who are getting married are inaccessible, and there's all this chatter about what should I do, how should I dress, what's the protocol. I mean, you guys are accessible. You're open to questions. So, if you're a little on the fence about what should I wear, ask the couple, is it cocktail, is it formal? White is a good question. Pippa Middleton, I think, shattered all of those conceptions about white. Especially for a bridesmaid, that was typically no. You don't want to take the focus off the bride.
Was it the white we were talking about with regard to the dress?
And other things. But I mean, white has become a huge color for bridesmaids, and I think it's fresh and clean. If you're wearing white to a summer wedding, don't wear a dress that looks like a wedding dress. Wear a great suit, or a pantsuit, or don't wear anything that looks remotely like a wedding dress, and I think you're okay.
And you didn't have any trouble with that, Jessica? Your guests all were fine.
Everybody was fine.
And you still have to hope. I'm sure it will
Fingers
be.
crossed.
Congratulations on your engagement once again and your
Thank you.
upcoming wedding.
Thank you.
Congratulations to you. Alison, thank you so much for your tips.
Thank you. Pleasure.
So for more on wedding etiquette tips, you can visit our website, canadaam.ctv.ca. Up next.